Oh, no shot.
Oh, I hit the live button right as you hopped in. You love to see it. What perfect timing there.
Yup.
What's going on?
Not much. Chilling.
All right.
I know.
So, semi-interesting game tonight. I'm in a bit of a pickle in my home league because I have to play Isaiah McKenzie today because both Deebo Samuel and Jerry Jeudy aren't practicing. So I have to play Isaiah McKenzie just in case that either of those guys don't play.
I have to put Drake London in for my flex because I have Mostert, McCaffrey, and Debo. No, McCaffrey's going to be fine. He's already practiced. But like
Yeah.
earlier in this week, it looked like, oh, no, maybe he's a serious questionable. But in my home league is, again, a very similar situation to where like I don't know who's going to be playing for me. It sucks because I think if Debo plays, like he's going to be in a prime spot to smash. Obviously, we expect
I
a
think
lot of
he'll be
points to be scored in
okay.
that
He
game.
was
But
downgraded, but it might just be like a veteran day or something.
also, what's gross is I have David Njoku, who's apparently dealing with a new knee injury
Yeah, I
in
saw that
multiple
too.
leagues.
Yeah.
So basically, I have Drake London in now, but again, if Debo plays, I will play Raheem Mostert pretty easily over him. Like I need to see that passing offense has some type of juice in it. But of
Yeah.
course, if Debo doesn't play, that's fine. Put Mostert in over Debo. Have Drake London in my lineup, but I just need to get a win because last week I took my first loss in 7 weeks, lost to one of the bottom teams in the league. So now I just need to win my next 2 weeks. I can get 11-3 in a top 2 seed in the league.
Yeah, it's not bad. For
Yeah.
reference, those of you guys that have access to our weekly rankings, those are up to date. If
Yep.
you want to just hop in here and slide through, we got a couple supers. If you want to just
Yep.
rip right
I
down to
will
those
quickly get
after
to them
that.
right now. First one from Orlando. He says, "What's up, guys? Half PPR, Gabe Davis or Jacoby Myers? Thank you. Give me Gabe Davis in this one. Obviously, the safer play, if you would be Jacoby Myers because of the targets, pure raw targets. But I mean, we want some upside here. It's a Thursday night game, so it might be a little bit sketch. But if anybody's going to blast off on a weird, janky Thursday night football type of game, I mean, we saw it on opening week. It would be Gabe Davis,
Gabe Davis was made for Thursday night football, I
right?
think.
I think he's forever going to live in that wide receiver 24 to 30 range in my rankings because I have
Yeah.
no clue where to put him any week.
Yeah, unless it was full PPR, then it's maybe a closer
Yeah.
conversation. But in half format, you're relying on big plays and touchdowns still. So I'll go with Gabe Davis there for sure.
Agreed. Got another super here from Brandon. Appreciate that. He says, trade away CMC, Ayuk, and Jeff Wilson to get Walker, Pollard, and Godwin full PPR. So if we're breaking this down, I would prefer Godwin and Pollard to Wilson and Ayuk. But I mean, I
Is the
don't think I would
difference
be.
between Pollard and Wilson
No,
because
I'd
Godwin
keep
and Ayuk?
CMC. I'd keep CMC.
I think I like the Walker, Pollard, and Godwin side here.
The reason why I'm keeping CMC is because we already know that the offense is going to keep getting better as they keep getting healthier. Not to mention with Elijah Mitchell out, like that opens a significant chunk, of the raw rushing attempts, and he's been a solid running back one on like 15 to 20 opportunities per game. Like if he were to ever near that 25 opportunity range, which is validly in the case with Elijah Mitchell out, like this could be your set and forget it overall RB1 for the rest of the year if that were to be the case. So I
Yeah,
just can't pass up on that upside.
that's fair. I think it's a fair trade because you got
Yeah.
a tier ahead with CMC over Walker, you got a tier ahead with Godwin over Ayuk, and you got probably same tier with Pollard and Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I would prefer Pollard over Wilson, but like, yeah, same tier.
I
Good
don't know, man.
offenses.
The side that you give away is a lot better attachments to better offenses.
Yeah,
You got two Niners
overall,
and a
yes.
Dolphin for sure versus, a Seahawk, solid
Only really a
offense, Bucks,
Cowboy.
solid offense, Cowboys, solid offense, I suppose. But the way that those other offenses are playing is a little bit more
I
solid.
mean,
I guess they're all pretty decent offenses overall, though.
I mean, yeah, but I would say if I were to rank them, I mean, the Cowboys, the Niners, and the Miami Dolphins are all at
Of
like a
course, you
different
put the
level right now.
Cowboys into that top
Absolutely,
tier.
they've been the number one scoring offense since Dak's
Yeah.
come back. Number
Yeah,
one
but
across
Pollard
America,
is
a
in a
bunch of
split
metrics.
backfield still now with Zeke coming back.
Majority
So.
share. Again, I would still prefer the CMC side, but he has been getting the majority share of the backfield. And I mean, one down week against a Giants defense that forever will always
Right, but
play
it
well
was like
against
a
us.
50-50 split this past week.
It's fair. Opportunities actually did favor Pollard, but I mean, that's fine.
It barely, but the
fair.
snaps and stuff.
It's a similar situation in terms of opportunity share, I would say, for Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert anyway. So, like, cancel each other out, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, Wilson was getting way more than Raheem Mostert when he was last on the field.
I mean, it's kind of been similar to Pollard and Zeke in the last few weeks. But either way, I would prefer the CMC side. Our Gravy, appreciate that. 4.99 super chat. He says half PPR, Latavius or Pickens. Pick 2, full PPR, CPAT, B. Rob and Swift. My ear comes down to these last 2 questions. So for the first one, I mean,
Pickens against the Falcons, 100%.
it was yeah. I mean, I'm going with Pickens for sure. And the second one, I mean, Swift is going to be riding the pine.
And not a chance. There's no way I would play him over play B Rob over him.
Really?
So Patterson got back to his full workload last week. So I'm cool. Patterson's like a top 20 running back for me. Swift got back on track as far as commanding all the long down and distance 2-minute drill type of work. And he had what 20 opportunities almost in that game. Like he definitely got back more on track 13. To the workload that we were used to seeing. Was it 13?
13 opportunities.
I thought it was 17. Anyways, Swift, he's getting the receiving work that we love to see. They dialed back Jamal Williams' carries a little bit, and they were using Swift a little bit more in the red zone. Unless Antonio Gibson was out for this game, and he was actually downgraded in practice today, I would probably go Swift.
Even if he plays, I mean, we've seen the last 3 weeks from Brian Robinson, 26 opportunities, 15 opportunities, and 21 opportunities. So I still think
going down with the Swift train again this week?
We're taking the Brian Robinson versus Swift bet then.
All right, sounds good. This was a PPR question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir. Brian Robinson's actually been really solid the last few weeks, honestly.
He has been solid for sure, but I think Swift against the Jaguars, I don't know, man. I think with the direction that his workload's been trending, I think we get Swift back to at least like a 15-point scorer type of game, even if Jamal Williams finds the end zone.
I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the situation if Jameson Williams were to be ruled in?
On Swift or just on the Lions in general?
Lions in general, and then particularly with Swift, because obviously we know, like, for the most part, we're looking at that receiving workload. But if they have another really competent receiver, how you think that's going to affect
them at all? To be honest,
fair.
Yeah, they're different types of targets, and even once JMO comes back, I don't expect him to be 100% snap share player right away. Anyway,
either way, I think JMO's going to come back more so next week, anyways. But I do really like the upside of Jameson Williams once he comes back.
Obviously, yeah, he's definitely gonna. I mean, we all made the jokes at the time that like he helps out Amon-Ra and he helps out the offense because he's a field stretcher, but he really does, to be honest. Like he makes the offense have a vertical element to it. It's not that. I mean, I guess DJ Chark kind of does that too, but DJ Chark's not scaring anybody.
Buns.
Yeah,
he's buns. Shout out though, he had a decent game on Thanksgiving, but
not a bad game.
He's
I just think the offense being good in general just helps everybody. I think that's probably the most significant thing that would come of Jameson Williams being the player that we saw at Alabama.
It's fair. We're all caught up on supers. Let's crank through these questions.
Yeah, Andrew, rank these quarterbacks 6 point per passing touchdown. Do you mean this week or rest of season?
We could do this week because I'm assuming that's what he's saying.
Yeah, so Watson, Jackson, Fields, and Tua.
I mean, Fields isn't playing for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, just given uncertainty, Watson's probably ruled out of this just because it's his first game back. I guess it's a revenge game against the Texans. So it's definitely interesting, but
I think I might play Watson over Tua because that San Francisco defense is just fucking crazy.
I don't think I would go that far.
They're going to be my 9 and 10 regardless.
I think Fields, if he plays, like assuming he's in, is probably the guy I'm going with here.
Yeah, so currently I have it. Lamar's my 6, Watson's my 9, Tua's my 10. But if Fields were to play, he would be in my top 5. So it would be Fields, but I just don't think that they're going to play him. Like, why would you? You're 3 and 8. You're dealing with
So if Fields doesn't play, who are you going with?
I think I might have to plug. Oh, and a 6 point touchdown too. That changes a lot.
I go Tua over Lamar personally against Denver.
In a 6 point,
Lamar's facing and a 6 point per passing touchdown. I'd probably have Tua second of these guys.
So you would have Fields first, obviously, if he plays, but Tua second. Okay, that's fair. I don't know, man. Maybe like we're being cautious because he hasn't played, first game back, but.
Watson. I mean, it's the Texans, it's his whole team, and
that's what
he's probably fired up to play. I just think he might have a little bit of rust in the first game back.
Yeah, it's fine. I would probably agree. In a 6 point, you probably go with Tua, but I am a little bit concerned about that defense.
Yeah,
but like I said, I think it's going to be a high scoring matchup.
The Dolphins' offense is one of the more matchup proof offenses in the NFL probably right now. So I'm not nearly as scared of it as I would be for like Lamar facing Denver when they've shown that like when they play good defenses, they struggle.
Yep. The only real main concern I have is that, as we know, with the Dolphins offense, a lot of their work happens over the middle of the field, and now they're facing against an elite coverage linebacker like Fred Warner to potentially take that out of the equation.
That's
So
fair, but you get
again,
Tyreek and Jalen over the middle.
100%. Again, Tua's still the answer, but like if he were to have a bad game, that's how I think it would happen.
Yeah,
if you will.
If Lenny doesn't play, I think he's probably going to. Personally, I think he's probably going to suit up. Who should I flex White?
Regardless if he plays or not, I'm going White.
Who do the Eagles play? Tennessee.
Which they're pass funneled, if you will. They have Montgomery going up against the Packers, and the Packers defense has really struggled to stop a nosebleed the last few weeks.
I don't mind if Fournette was playing. I would probably go Montgomery, to be honest.
I don't mind that, but
if
even
Fields was playing and Fournette was playing, I would start Montgomery.
100%. If Fields is out though, and
I think he's going to play, dude. He practiced in full today.
The fucking Bears are a disgrace for that.
I don't know.
Drop Curtis.
He said I'm playing Chase over all these guys. Yeah, you're playing Chase over all these guys, and it does sound like Chase is going to play.
Oh, dude, did you hear what he said to Justin Reed?
They're
talking shit to each other, and he called him tuna in a can.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I don't know, but it sounds funny.
I guess he did. He kind of can talk shit to the Chiefs because he owns them. So
yeah. We got another super here from our Gravy. Says drop Curtis Samuel or Pat / 49ers D for tight end if Njoku's out. I don't mind dropping the Patsy because I mean the 49ers D is probably going to be your defense for this year. They already had their bye week, so I don't mind.
They have a pretty easy schedule. I'm pretty sure too.
After the Miami game,
Yeah.
Agree with that. Appreciate the super chat there, our Gravy.
Yeah.
Njoku or Hurst full PPR. If Njoku suits up, you're playing Njoku.
But it's not a guarantee that he does.
But that's the thing. If you're in this question, obviously if he's out, you play Hurst. But if he's playing, he's averaging, I think, when healthy, over 12 PPR points per game in games like he's fully healthy.
Back now too.
Yeah, he's been a legit top 5 tight end whenever he's healthy on the field. That one game where he spent 45% of the snaps and he played an ancillary role, if you will, to Harrison Bryant a couple weeks ago. But then we saw what it looked like when he was on that full allotment this past week against your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, that catch he had for the touchdown was just fucking
ridiculous.
Ludicrous.
So on Brady's podcast on XM Radio, he was like, I can't even be mad losing the game that way. That was an incredible catch. Obviously, he's like, I'm mad that we didn't execute in overtime, but the way that they tied the game, I have no complaints there. That was a crazy play.
I also quickly want to hear your thoughts. So I know after the game, basically a reporter asked Todd Bowles, he's like, well, with 35 seconds left there, you guys had a couple timeouts, why didn't you call timeout? And his answer was, well, we're nervous in case, what if Tom throws a pick in that situation? I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, Tom Brady is not throwing
Tom Brady,
Tom Brady's not throwing a pick with 25 seconds left to lose a game. Let's be real.
He knows he's got more situational football than Todd Bowles has in his entire body. Thoughts of that. If he was going to throw a risky pass, he would throw it where only his receiver can get it, or whatever the case is. So I don't know. Usually Tom Brady has full autonomy to run a 2-minute drill. So it might have been Tom's mistake and Todd Bowles was covering up for it, to be honest. Because normally he's the one who decides, in a 2-minute drill situation, are we going to go for points? Are we going to kneel it for the half or whatever? So, what's done, it's done, man. I still think we're going to win the division at 9-8 or 10-7. As long as we get in the dance, it really doesn't matter what happens, to be honest.
10-7 might be tough. You guys basically have to win out and you play the Bengals and the 49ers left.
Yeah. We play both of them at home, though.
Fair.
I believe.
I would
at least. I don't know what 9-8, 10-7, whatever we end up doing. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. By the way, side note, Tom Brady has been in the NFL for longer than Todd Bowles has coached in the NFL. That's pretty remarkable.
Crazy.
Not by much. Todd Bowles started his career as a secondary coach on the Jets back in 2000, and as we know with Brady, he was guy's a fucking animal.
2000 seasons when he got in there. So, would you trade away Oh yeah, we already answered that in the super chat. Pick one running back and one flex full PPR. Walker, Amon-Ra, Demont, Burks, White.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is instantly in your flex. I don't even have to read that.
Yeah, you got a lot of great options there, but it's
Walker's your running back. Yeah, no, I fully agree. Amon-Ra St. Brown's on my top 5 wide receiver or top 6 wide receivers this week. So you guys are gonna watch the video tomorrow, but that top 6 this week is the clear top 6.
Yeah, there's a similar tier at running back this week too with the top guys for sure.
No, for sure. Henry says appreciate the super chat nonetheless. Miles Sanders and Pollard over Gabe Davis tonight. I would go with Tony Pollard.
I would actually play both of them over Davis, to be honest.
Yeah, I probably would as well.
Yeah, but Pollard would be. I don't know him though, because Sanders is getting a great workload. Tennessee's a little bit tougher against the run though, so
really
I'd
tough,
probably go Pollard over Sanders, but it'd be pretty close.
Yep. You got where we left off.
Yeah. What's up, boys? In the mix for the playoffs. So in my home league, by the way, real quick, I'm in a 5-7 tie with 3 other teams, and there's one team that's 6-6 that's ahead of us that is currently the 6th seed in the playoffs. And I have more points for than all 4 teams, or like all the other 3 teams. So if I just, tie the guys' records, then I'll get in points for, because that's our main tiebreaker. But I need to win this week against the 5-7 team that is behind me in 8th place. And I play next week against Amir, who's the 5-7 team that's in 9th place right now. So a lot of big ones, but Scott, Bowski, who is the guy that is in 6th right now, holding the 6-6 record, plays Arnold this week, who's 10-2. So hopefully Arnold can take care of business.
In the mix for these playoffs, pick 3 half PPR: Davis, Gus Edwards, Ayuk, Singletary, Pollard. This one's pretty easy for me. I'm going to go with Pollard, Ayuk, and probably Gabe.
Yeah. Singletary's pretty close too, with Gabriel Davis, I would say, between the 2 Bills. Just because Gabriel Davis it's not an overly involved guy in the offense. And I mean, the Patriots are pretty strong against both the pass and the run. I would probably venture to say that this game hits the under. I actually have money on it hitting the under. But it's going to be interesting. I would say that it's really a toss-up between the 2 Buffalo Bills, but Ayuk and Pollard are clear 1 and 2 for me there.
I agree. By the way, it's so funny how after the start of the season, Gabe Davis has just ended up materializing into exactly what we expected him to be.
I know. He's been exactly what we expected. He was still a fine, best ball type of guy, but 4th round was still too high.
I mean, kudos to him, because he's on pace for about 1,100 yards receiving. But the fact is, he has 60 targets in 10 games, and he has 33 receptions in 10 games. Listen, you could be on pace for 1,100 receiving yards, but if you're not getting the PPR points from receptions, and you have, 5 touchdowns is fine, but realistically, for that big play threat on the Buffalo Bills,
you need the Mike Williams 2018 season where he had 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. That's how you get to repaying where he was going on underdog, for example, and having those big explosive performances. But Andrew says full PPR: Barkley, CMC, Walker, and JT. How is this a decision, bro? Christian McCaffrey is one of these options because he's got the biggest workload, assuming he's good to go, which he said he is.
Probably Walker.
I think Taylor's workload is too much for me. I know he's playing the Cowboys, but his workload's too big for me, man.
Walker's getting 24 touches per game right now.
Yeah, who does Walker play against? He's got a hard matchup too, man. The Rams are brutal, and so are the Commanders, who Barkley plays. So none of those guys have big efficient days ahead of them. I think JT is the best workload of those guys. Yeah, so I'd probably go with CMC and JT.
They're all in that clear back end running back 1 range, I would say, this week.
I have McCaffrey at 2, Taylor at 5, Barkley at 10, and Walker at 11.
Let me see where I have it. I actually think I have Walker higher than the other 2, but I mean, they're splitting hairs.
The Rams are the best. I guess, to be fair, Aaron Donald is going to be out. So maybe, or at least it sounds like he's going to be out. So it probably makes that matchup a bit easier. A lot easier, actually.
I have McCaffrey at 2. I have Jonathan Taylor. Actually, you're right. I do have him my second, so I would go with him. He's at number 8. Walker's at number 9, and Saquon's at number 12 for me.
Yeah, fair.
The guy I wanted to raise a little bit was Aaron Jones because of the matchup.
I have Aaron Jones at 9.
Yeah. I have him at 10
AJ
or 11
Dillon
right
in
now.
my top 24 also.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Running back is very weird this week.
And the Bears just suck on defense. Yeah. I think the Packers are going to run it all over them.
Yeah, I agree. Hit the like, smash the sub, and pound the bell. Appreciate that, Andrew. Everybody watching here, all 44 of you, if you can do so. I mean, I'm assuming most of you are subscribed, but if you haven't already, make sure you do so, as I kind of say on every video, on that road to 20,000 subscribers.
Yes, sir. Auten, Ingram, Juwan Johnson, definitely Ingram. Auten isn't getting the snaps since Cam Brate's been back, and Juwan Johnson's touchdown are busting a bad offense. So yeah, give me Evan Ingram.
I have Evan Ingram actually cracking my top 12 this week. He's my tight end 12.
Yeah, I mean, and Ingram too. They're playing the Lions. Probably a higher scoring game, we'd imagine. I think Ingram.
I think it's a 51.5 over under last time I checked.
Yeah, Ingram's was probably one of your best streaming options, I'd imagine. Christian Watson or Devin Singletary for a flex spot in PPR.
Go with your Packer. Your Packer.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Easily.
Yeah, against the Bears. Yeah, the Bears secondary is the worst in the NFL since Like Eddie Jackson went down last week too. Who's the captain of their defense right now? So they're in a bad way on defense.
Bad list Frank injury, but which, by the way, okay, this is why I got upset with the Justin Fields news earlier when we mentioned he could play in this game. They're already without Darnell Mooney. They're without Eddie Jackson. That team is not stopping anybody on defense, and now just lost their number one playmaker on offense. Not to mention Khalil Herbert still on the mend as well. And you're gonna throw your injured fucking young quarterback into the wolves in that situation. Like, it's just such malpractice. And I get it. NFL teams don't think the way I do. I think of, you have young players, let them develop. Don't throw them into clear, terrible situations. But NFL teams, at the end of the day, just want to win. And although the Bears, like, you are positioned for the number 2 pick right now.
You're not going to get fired. Like, there's no reason for you to do that.
You're not. And it's funny to me because, again, if they get the number 2 pick, guess what? Carolina, even like if you want to make a trade in the division, Detroit would want to move up. So many quarterback needy teams are going to want that number 2 overall pick, right? So like,
there's a number of teams that could move up. Or, I mean, let's say they stick and pick number 2 overall. Would they draft a wide receiver that high?
Jalen Carter. You have to.
Yeah, you take a defensive lineman.
You take that generation. You take that generational talent, build up that defense. I mean, worst case, I would say, maybe
Anderson's not a generational talent anymore.
He's good as well, but I don't know. I've heard a lot of scouts say that Jalen Carter's just played much better this year. I think they're both like clearly top 5 players.
Isn't Anderson a little undersized compared to Carter too?
He's about, I think, 6'3", 235.
Yeah, so he's a little smaller.
A little bit more of an outside backer type of build.
Interesting though. If somebody, let's say Detroit was picking, like, they wanted to keep their Rams pick or something, and they were like, hey, we're going to trade up with our pick. Like, the Lions pick is at 13 or whatever. And the Bears are like, our number 1 need in this draft is a wide receiver. That's probably a better range for them to be in. And they could be like, hey, we want to come up and get CJ Stroud or whatever at number 2. Then you could trade down with the Lions, and maybe the Lions will give you their first in 2024 or something, from moving down to 13 to 2.
The only problem for Detroit too, like, it would make sense a lot on the Bears, but if I'm the Lions, I'd rather give up the Rams pick and maybe
but like maybe they love a defensive lineman at that point in the draft as well. Maybe they love Will Anderson or something too.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then you secure yourself 2 top 5 picks or something like that. Start one tight end in full PPR, Schultz or Freiermuth, and then pick one. Okay, so of the tight ends, I mean, both of those guys are pretty much the same type of dude. They're both like, target guys.
One plays the Falcons though.
I'll probably go Freiermuth against the Falcons. I think we might actually get one of the better Pickett performances of the year this week. So I'd probably go with Freiermuth there. The Colts defense is a little tougher, even though the Cowboys offense is more reliable.
Yep, I agree with that.
And then pick one: Swift, flex. Deontay Johnson, or Treylon Burks. You going Treylon here?
Treylon Burks.
I got like a soft spot for both of the other players. I actually have all 3 players on my home league team in this decision.
The answer is Treylon Burks, though.
It's probably Treylon Burks, yeah. In
a game where Tennessee might have to open up and throw the ball 30, 35 times if they want to beat the fucking Eagles, like Treylon Burks.
It's probably Treylon Burks, but I think this finally might be the DeAndre Swift game that we were waiting for.
Hopeful.
Against Jacksonville with the receiving work that we saw last week.
Etienne, Davis, Pierce, or DPJ. Etienne says he's going to play. Like, Etienne is a top 5 running back for me.
Yeah, Etienne's very easily the answer there.
Full
PPR, Ayuk, Evans, or Deontay.
I have Evans slightly higher than Ayuk, but they're very, very close.
It's wild that we're at that point with if Debo doesn't play, does that change the answer?
Yeah, it's Ayuk at that point, 100%.
Okay, so Evans is probably you go with him.
Evans, I think I have ranked.
Here's the other thing too. What if Lattimore plays for the Saints?
I'm going under the assumption that he does.
You're going under the assumption he does.
If he doesn't, I'm raising Evans. Is how I'm reacting.
Okay. Right now, I don't know what his health status is because he's been out for a while now.
Yeah. Like right now, I have Evans.
The same thing, by the way, with Lattimore that they did with Michael Thomas. He's been out for like 6 games, and they haven't put him on IR.
I have Evans at 20 and Ayuk at 21 for the record.
Okay.
Different league, but flex Kirk, Mike Williams, Rashad White, or Jamal Williams. I mean, I have Christian Kirk very, very high this week.
Yeah, I'd probably say Christian Kirk is the guy going there.
Christian Kirk is my wide receiver. Yeah, Christian Kirk I had at 16, but realistically, he's probably going to be closer to that 10 range.
If Leonard Fournette was out for this game, does that change your decision at all?
I'm still going to go with Kirk, assuming this is a full PPR.
Yeah, I mean, I think Leonard Fournette's going to
close.
play. He practiced in full today, and remember, they play on Monday. So today is basically the Wednesday practice for teams that play on Monday. So he's probably going to be back, I would assume, with Leonard Fournette.
Agree with that. I need Diggs now to go off to advance in one of my few BBM teams. So for that today. Yeah, hope for your case that Diggs and Allen go off.
You know what I would love happening? I don't know if you know who my highest owned running back is on Underdog, but they haven't exactly worked out.
Mine's ETN.
Mine's Madison. So Madison's my highest owned running back. It would be awesome if I could advance some Madison teams and then Cook went down during the playoffs so that I'd have a bunch of like unique builds. Because like I have a couple teams. I saw somebody tweet out like, okay, it's fun to advance a bunch of teams because I've seen like Eagles and
was that Liam?
No, it was just some other like dynasty best ball bro. But I've seen like Eagles and like Mason and stuff. They have like some really high advance rates, which is like I'm jealous. Obviously, their advance rates are like 40% right now, which is nowhere near what mine is.
Yeah.
But he's like the sketchy thing about that is like most of those teams are going to be a lot of similar players or whatever. I have a couple teams that are advancing with like Pittman, Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore on them, right? Like those are like unique players that a lot of people probably wouldn't have advanced.
Well, the thing that's so great about me having a lot of Elijah Moore is it also resultantly got me a lot of Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, same.
So like, because I'm, I'm not doing great. Again, I barely check it. I like checking it as the regular season ends just to kind of see where I'm at because otherwise I'm just going to throw my head in a loop thinking exactly what I need each week. But, like Elijah Moore, if he gets the snaps, like he still only had like a 43% route participation, but he had those 2 big plays. He looks like he's more satisfied in the offense. It looks like for the most part, they've kind of mended things as long as Zach Wilson's not starting.
Yeah, dude. Imagine if Elijah Moore decided to just like be Amon-Ra of last year down the stretch. Like how many teams would that disrupt? Like that advanced, right? Like that would screw the advance. Like everybody like advance rates are useless. Like if you advance a lot of Elijah Moore, which inherently I would because I have him as my highest owned wide receiver, him and Keenan Allen both. If I can advance those guys, Deontay, those 3 guys are my highest owned wide receivers. Obviously not looking good from an advance rate perspective, but advancing those players, if they can get into the dance for me, then that obviously would make a big difference. Same goes with guys like Madison and Algier, who I have a lot of at running back.
Yep. I agree with that. Let's get to these comments.
Jacoby or Miles Sanders PPR. Sanders. I'd go Sanders there, fantasy noob. Full PPR, Gabe Davis, Pittman Jr. Give me Michael Pittman Jr. there. Swift, Garrett Wilson, or Montgomery.
Garrett Wilson
PPR.
Easily.
Garrett Wilson, not close. Also for me,
not remotely close for me.
How do you feel about Gabe Davis tonight? I think
boom bust wide receiver 3. That's exactly where I have him.
Pretty much where he always is. Like it's not a great matchup for him. So ideally, I would play like he's at 29 for me in my rankings.
He's 26 for me.
I would rather play George Pickens over him, to be honest.
I have Pickens at 27.
Yeah. Like, and Pickens is not typically a guy that you'd want to play over him, but I think given the matchup difference, they're both the same type of player. One guy has a good matchup, one guy's a terrible matchup.
The other one that I've like thought about moving over him would be Juju, but I'm a little bit nervous.
I have Smith-Schuster out of him.
I'm a little bit nervous because he did get a limited route participation this past week. Again, that should be because he was limited all week. Obviously, the concussion coming back, first game back. But I just, for my own sake, I just want to see the snaps and routes fully go back to him before I put him over. At least with Gabe Davis, we know what his role is, and he still has a ton of upside to pay off. So if he was fully healthy, I'd have him probably in that fringe wide receiver 2 range. But I'm a little bit worried about Juju.
Yeah. Would you
like he's healthy, but it's just as
on Diggs? I would. Yeah. I mean, like that's a tier 1 running back, tier 1 wide receiver swap. If you need a wide receiver and you're good at running back, I'm totally cool making that trade.
I personally would prefer Diggs rest of the season. We actually got a super chat here from our Gravy. Guess exact score tonight for $100 super chat next stream. I'm gonna go. Is it safe if I just say like 24-20 Bills?
I think that would keep it just right under the under of the game. I think it's 44 right now. Yeah, it is. That would be a push. You're predicting a push.
Hey, if Vegas agrees with me, I think that's a fine. That's probably what the implied score is, by the way. Aren't the Bills 4-point favorites?
3.5 point favorites. So just about, yeah. So Danny going with the safe answer. I'll say the Bills struggle, or the Patriots struggle a little bit more on offense. I'll go 27-13.
I don't mind that. Again, another under. Buffalo. Yeah, I appreciate the super chat nonetheless. Hopefully for our sake it does hit, but even not, worst case scenario, it holds your bank account.
Yeah. Marvin says 10-man superflex, Chris Olave
Chris
for the
Olave.
203,
Chris Olave.
2024 2, and a 2025 2.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
a lot of noise.
realistically, if you're a good drafter, you could probably make that work out for you, but I think I would rather just have Olave.
Yeah, give me Olave. Okay,
Yeah.
right now, if somebody offered you 203, 24 2, and 25 2, what first round pick does that even get you in the draft? Like, I don't even think that gets you in the 106, 107 range. So if we're doing like 108, 109, I would easily take Olave over that pick. And if that's the case, like, yeah.
Yeah, like
Olave.
Olave is going to be probably similarly ranked as Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. And
he'd be wide receiver 1 in this class because he's already proven he could be an elite receiver.
Yeah, he would be. But like he'd be right behind. Like those guys would probably be ranked very closely behind him in my dynasty rankings once they get drafted.
Well, the question I have for you is if somebody offered you right now the 104 or Chris Olave, you could have either of those assets. Like,
I would take the 104.
You would because of Gibbs?
Maybe not even just because of that. I think maybe either the quarterbacks fall or Gibbs, or I can sell it, or whatever the case is. I think that might be slightly more valuable than Olave, but it'd probably be like on par. Like 105 is probably how I would peg Olave's value.
Yeah, because I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, you got that top 3 tier with the 2 quarterbacks and Bijan, but I mean, after that, like you can argue that you would take Olave over every other pick. But as you kind of mentioned, like if anything happens,
if Tucker goes second round, I would take Tucker over Gibbs too. So I would also just potentially just take Tucker there.
Fair. I mean, I would still have to take Olave over Tucker in that spot.
Isaiah McKenzie or Noah Fant. I will. Tight end premium is interesting, but Fant just doesn't get the routes and the snaps for Seattle. They're running like a committee kind of tight end approach there. So I'd probably roll with Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree with you there. Gives you more upside.
Lenny or Gibson PPR. I mean, both guys are kind of dealing with an injury right now. I would say
Gibson.
Lenny is more likely to play, but Gibson would be the guy I would prefer to start if both are active and ready to go. So I'd say Gibson for the time being, but you might have to be forced to start Lenny there.
Yep.
Pick'ems for tonight. I'll give a look real quick and see what I like. I already have Underdog open here. So pick'ems for tonight. 318.5 total yards for Josh Allen seems a tad rich given how good the Patriots defense has played. So I think I like the lower on 318.5 total yards. But the one that I do like is where is the one that I just had? James Cook, 16.5 rushing yards. He's been getting worked in a little bit more, and he's pretty explosive when he gets carries. So I think the higher on 16.5 rushing yards for James Cook is pretty interesting there.
What's Hunter Henry's over under?
Hunter Henry's is 24.5. That one's pretty solid as well. I think he gets a decent amount of touches there. I also like Nelson Aguilar gets 21.5 receiving yards. That one's pretty solid too. He seems to be more involved in that, and all it takes usually for him is like 1 30-yard play down the field for him to get that. 4 receptions for Jacoby Myers seems like a decent higher there as well. 102.5 rushing and receiving yards. I kind of like the under on that for Ramondre Stevenson.
I don't mind that. I think he's going to get a ton of receiving work, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the rushing might be
limited. He could, for sure. But I think he might have a tough time running the ball.
Yeah.
Would you guys play Russ, Heineke, or Tannehill 4-point per passing touchdown? I'd probably go Tannehill of those options.
I mean, I think I have Russ the highest. Let me check. I don't want to say that.
I think Tannehill's just the best quarterback there. So
I actually do have Tannehill the highest, though. They're very close.
I mean, it's a tough matchup against Philly. Heineke's probably got the easiest matchup of those guys, I would say. Baltimore's, I guess, semi-easy, but I'd probably just go Tannehill.
Yep.
Need two. Pacheco, Garrett Wilson, Pierce, Pittman, Devontae
Wilson
Smith.
And Pierce.
Yeah, I'm going Wilson and Pierce as well. I actually kind of like Pierce this week. I think a lot of people are overreacting on Pierce a little bit.
I have him very high. I think he's a fringe top 15 level running back for me. I mean, the Cleveland Browns that we kind of talked about is they are atrocious when it comes to stopping opposing running backs. Dameon Pierce, as we know, is a 20-plus touch type of workhorse. He's very predictable. If he's facing a tough front seven, because Houston's not a good team, they're going to get phased out of the game. But in a game against a team like Cleveland, where I feel like they can keep it close throughout the game, especially because Watson's in his first game back, might be a little bit rusty in the offensive end. Like, yeah, I think he's going to get a huge workload in this game, and I wouldn't be shocked if he was a top 10 level running back. And in terms of Garrett Wilson, I mean, we saw exactly what it looked like this past week playing Minnesota. I mean, is his primary matchup going to be a 35-year-old Patrick Peterson? Like, no, I don't care. I'm playing him. He's something like that, dude. He got drafted in 2011. He'd be like right around there, like 33, 34, 35 area. You're lagging. Good now?
Yeah, just keep going. Sorry, someone's loading for me.
Good. Patrick Peterson is actually going to be 33.
I'll click the next question here.
33 next year, so 32. But either way, he's old. And a 22-year-old Garrett Wilson is going to, start him like cheese. Start 2, Gabe Davis, Cortland Sutton, or Christian Watson. I would be starting Watson for sure. Who do I have higher between Davis and Sutton? Like Watson's the clear one there for me, but
yeah, I would start Sutton over Davis personally.
Oh,
Baltimore's pretty weak secondary. I mean, the Patriots have been really strong, keeping big plays, bottled up or whatever.
I mean, if I'm dealing in this range, and I know they're both volatile players, like just give me Josh Allen over a broken Russ. Like, that's kind of how I've weighed it. Fair. So I would go with Gabe.
But give me the guy who earns targets over the guy that can't.
It's fair. I mean,
the other side of the coin.
It's fair. The only problem is fucking Cortland Sutton sucks.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, Garrett Wilson, Treylon, Christian Watson, and Drake London is my main wide receiver core in my rebuild. Feeling spicy. Can't wait for rookie drafts. Yes, sir. I'm always on board with that too.
I mean, I get
Higbee in a 1-point tight end premium league with Stafford out. My other options are Patterson and Zay Jones. Give me Patterson easily over all these options.
Yeah. By the way, Cortland Sutton, because Jerry Jeudy's out, I would actually go with him. I just took contextualized.
Is Jerry Jeudy fully out yet?
He has not practiced all week.
He hasn't practiced. He's probably out.
I just took that in, so I will make that adjustment in my rankings.
What's our confidence level with Allen tonight? I mean, I'm still starting him. He's not my QB1 on the week. I would rather play Mahomes or Hurts or Burrow over him if you guys have those guys as options. But I'd imagine if you have Allen, you'd play Allen.
Yeah. Where did Sutton just go in my rankings? What the fuck?
If Fields plays, would you play him over Jimmy G? Yeah, I would. If he's the starting quarterback, I'm playing him over Jimmy G for sure.
Well, in terms of the Davis versus Sutton, I literally can't even adjust it in my rankings now. So I'm just gonna stick it as is. Yeah.
Sure. Where do you have Rachaad White ranked with Lenny coming back? So as of right now, I have them ranked as if Lenny's going to play, but be kind of limited, I would say. So I have Rachaad White just inside my top 20, and Leonard Fournette is like a top 40 running back for me right now, but I might tighten those guys up a little bit as the week goes along.
Yep. Agreed.
Probably answer this last question and then hop off here. We weren't able to get to everybody, obviously, but Pollard or Gabe Davis? Pollard, right? Yeah, I would have gone with Pollard. I think I might have super chatted that question. Anyways, we are probably going to head off here. The game has already started. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Good luck tonight. Hopefully if you guys are making a playoff push like myself, you get some good luck on Thursday. Either your player goes off or their player does not. But yeah, take it easy. Enjoy the game.
Peace out.